The rain fell hard on the quiet alien road. Thick clouds covered the sky, hiding the moons. Wind howled through the trees, bending their dark red leaves. Mud splashed under the tires of Ryan's delivery truck as he drove slowly, eyes focused. On the path ahead, he had been working all day, delivering food packages to far-off villages on this alien planet. He was tired, hungry, and just wanted to get home. But then, something caught his eye. A small figure sat alone near the edge of the road. She was not moving, not waving, not asking for help. She just sat there, legs pulled to her chest. Head down, soaking wet, Ryan hit the brakes. His truck slid a little in the mud before stopping. He grabbed a flashlight and stepped out, boots sinking in the wet dirt. As he got closer, he saw the figure was a girl, a tiny alien girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old. Her skin was a soft gray blue, her eyes wide and glowing faintly in the dark. Her thin clothes were torn, her feet bare, and her hair stuck to her face from the rain. She looked up at him, but didn't speak. Ryan knelt down, shining the light away from her face so it wouldn't hurt her eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. The girl didn't answer. She just held out a small metal object in her hand, a broken necklace. She stared at it like it was the only thing she had left in the world. Then, in a whisper so soft he almost didn't hear it, she said, "Can I please stay with you? My mother died today." Ryan froze. His heart dropped. He looked around quickly, scanning the dark trees and long shadows. No one else was there. No other sounds except the wind and rain. He swallowed hard. She was just a child, lost and alone on a dangerous world. Raiders often hunted the weak, and children were taken and sold. She wouldn't survive the night out here alone. "Get in the truck," he said firmly but gently. She didn't move. She looked scared, unsure if she should trust him. Ryan reached out his hand. "Open and calm. I won't hurt you, I promise," he added. Slowly, the girl stood up. She took his hand with freezing cold fingers and followed him to the truck. He opened the passenger door and helped her inside. She curled up on the seat, hugging her knees, silent and shaking. As Ryan started the engine again, he glanced in the rearview mirror for a moment. He thought he saw something move between the trees, a shadow, fast and silent. He didn't wait to find out what it was. He stepped on the gas and drove fast, tires spinning as he left the dark road behind. The girl didn't speak again. She just stared out the window, her breath fogging up the glass. Ryan turned up the heater and gave her a dry towel from the back seat. She wiped her face slowly, but never looked at him. "What's your name?" he asked after a while. She didn't answer. She clutched the necklace tighter, eyes full of pain. He didn't ask again. Not yet. They drove through the hills, the trees slowly giving way to open fields. His cabin wasn't far now, a small place. Simple, quiet, safe. When they arrived, Ryan parked close to the door and quickly got out. He opened the passenger door and carried the girl inside. She was light as air, like she hadn't eaten in days. He wrapped her in a thick blanket and placed her on the couch near the fire. Then he made soup, something warm and easy. He set the bowl in front of her. She looked at it, then at him. "Eat," he said gently. "It's okay." She picked up the spoon awkwardly, spilling a little, but she ate slowly, carefully. Each bite seemed to warm her a little more. Ryan sat nearby, watching, thinking, who was she? Where was her family? And who had hurt them? He didn't know yet, but he would find out, and for tonight, at least, he would keep her safe. Outside, the rain continued to fall, but inside the cabin, the fire burned softly. And for the first time in a long time, someone else shared the warmth. The fire cracked softly in the cabin. Ryan sat in his chair, watching the small alien girl sleep on the couch. She was still wrapped in the blanket, her arms around herself, like she was holding something invisible. Her breathing was light and soft, but every now and then she twitched, like someone running from a nightmare. He had put the empty soup bowl in the sink, turned off the lights, and locked every door outside. The night was silent now, but the wind still moved through the trees. Ryan sat still, listening. He had lived alone for years. But tonight, everything felt different. In the middle of the night, the girl woke up with a soft gasp. She looked around the room like she didn't remember where she was. Then her eyes found the necklace on the table, and she relaxed a little. Ryan stood up slowly and walked over, keeping his voice low. "You're safe here," he said. "No one will hurt you." She didn't speak, but she nodded once. Her eyes were too big for her small face, and they held something too old for her age. "Payne, I'm Ryan," he said, hoping to build trust. "You don't have to tell me your name, not until you're ready." She looked at him for a long moment, then whispered, "Telly." Ryan gave her a small smile. "That's a nice name." She looked away, hugging her knees again. Her voice came out like dust, dry and weak. "They burned our hut," she said. "They took my cousin. They hit Mama. She told me to run. I did. But I heard her scream." Ryan's hands tightened at his sides. He had heard stories like this before, but never this close. The border forests were lawless, home to raiders and black market hunters. They targeted alien refugees and weak tribal families. Telly sniffled, trying not to cry. Ryan knelt down beside her. "You did good, Telly. You survived." He didn't try to hug her, didn't reach out. He just stayed close, quiet and steady. After a while, her head leaned against the arm of the couch, and she fell back asleep. The next morning, Ryan made breakfast, warm bread, fruit, and tea. Telly sat at the table, her hands clean now, her face washed. She still didn't say much, but she looked a little less afraid. Ryan gave her a set of old clothes he had. They were too big, but she tied the sleeves and legs. She looked funny, but she smiled a little for the first time. Just a small one, but it was there. "These are human clothes," she said. "You are human." Ryan replied with a chuckle. She pointed to herself. "I'm not, I know," he said, "but you're still welcome here." Later, they sat outside on the small wooden porch. The sun peeked through the clouds, warming the wet earth. Telly watched the sky silently, her eyes tracing the birds that flew by. "That one looks like a glimmerfin," she said, pointing. "My mama told me they fly when something good is about to happen." Ryan didn't say anything, but he hoped it was true. That evening, Ryan checked his small scanner. There were tracks nearby. Not animal, not local. 3 different life signs had passed through the area the night before, close to his property. Too close, he didn't tell Telly. But he locked the doors tighter and covered the windows with cloth. At night, he kept a weapon near the couch and left a motion detector by the door. Telly noticed the extra locks, but said nothing. She just stayed near the fire, drawing in the dirt with her finger. "Can I stay here? Just for one more night?" she asked, her voice low. Ryan nodded. "You can stay as long as you need to." She blinked slowly, then whispered, "I won't eat too much. I won't be loud. I'll help clean. I'll stay out of the way. You don't have to hide here." Ryan said, his voice firm but kind. "This is your home now, until you feel safe." She didn't answer, but that night she moved from the couch to sit near his chair. She didn't touch him, didn't speak. She just sat nearby, as if his presence made her feel less alone in the deep part of the night. A light flickered in the trees. Someone was watching the house, but stayed hidden. Ryan saw the flash from his window. He turned off the lamps and sat by the door with his weapon ready. Telly was still asleep, curled up beside the fire like a tiny ghost. Ryan stared into the dark woods. He knew someone was out there, and he knew they weren't friendly. But he also knew one thing for sure. No one was taking the girl, not while he was alive. The smell of warm stew filled the cabin. Telly sat at the small wooden table, holding a spoon with both hands. She stared into the bowl like it held something more than food, like it was magic. Ryan sat across from her, sipping tea and watching. Silently, she had been with him for 3 days now. She still barely spoke, but she no longer trembled when he entered the room. That morning, she had asked in a quiet voice, "Can I help make food?" Ryan had shown her how to wash vegetables and stir the pot. She spilled a little, sneezed from the spices, but smiled, really smiled, for the first time. Now, as she took careful bites, she looked up at him. "This is the best thing I've ever tasted," she whispered. Ryan chuckled. "It's just stew." He said, "It's warm." She replied, "Mama made food like this." When we had wood to burn, he nodded slowly, feeling a tightness in his chest. The world had been cruel to this girl, but here at least she had warmth and something that almost felt like peace. After lunch, Ryan brought out some books. They were old, some with torn pages, mostly picture books he used to collect from trade posts. Telly's eyes lit up when she saw one about stars and animals. She traced the pictures with her fingers, whispering the names to herself. "What's this one?" she asked, pointing to a creature with 6 legs and glowing wings. "That's a fireflighter," Ryan said. "Do they live near here?" "Used to, before the forests were burned down by the miners." She looked sad again, so he quickly pointed to another. "That one still lives nearby, though. We might see one tonight." Telly nodded, and for the first time, she sat on the floor near his feet, reading quietly. Her small voice spoke the words slowly. She made mistakes, but Ryan never corrected her harshly, only smiled and guided her when she asked. That night, after dinner, she curled up by the fire again, her blanket wrapped around her like a shell. Ryan noticed she was humming a soft, broken melody, but it was something. "Where did you learn that song?" he asked. "Mama used to hum it when I was scared," she said. "Are you scared now?" She paused, then shook her head. "Not when the fire's going, and you're here." Later, Ryan stepped outside to check the perimeter. The stars above were brighter tonight, and the air was cold, but still, he held a scanner in one hand, checking for movement. No signs of life nearby. Not tonight. But the memory of that flicker in the woods 2 nights ago still burned in his mind. He wouldn't let his guard down, not while she was under his roof. Inside, he found Telly sitting at the table. Holding her broken necklace, she turned to him, her voice soft. "Can you fix it?" He knelt beside her and took the necklace carefully. One side of the chain was snapped, and the stone in the middle was cracked. "I can try," he said. She looked hopeful. "Please don't throw it away, even if it's broken. It was Mama's." "I wouldn't dream of it," he promised. He put it in a small box and placed it on a shelf. "When I go to the town post next week, I'll ask the metal shop to fix it." Telly smiled again. And that small moment warmed the entire cabin. The next morning, Telly woke up before the sun. She went to the kitchen and tried to make tea. She spilled half the leaves on the counter, but she managed to boil water when Ryan walked in, rubbing his eyes. She held up the cup proudly. "For you," she said. He blinked, surprised, then took the cup with a nod. "Thank you." They sat together at the table, sipping tea as the sun rose slowly through the window. Ryan had never had anyone wake up before him in this house. It felt strange, but also right. In the afternoon, she cleaned the floor with an old broom. She laughed when the dust flew into her face. Ryan laughed too. It was the first time the house had echoed with joy in years. "Do I have to leave soon?" she asked suddenly, her face turned serious. Ryan looked at her. "No," he said. "Not unless you want to." Telly nodded slowly. "I don't want to leave. You won't," he said, his voice firm. "This is your place now, Telly." She stared at him for a moment, then whispered, "You smell like safe." Ryan didn't know what to say to that, so he just sat beside her, letting the warmth of the fire and the quiet moment say everything else. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, but inside, the cabin had become something rare. A place with warm food, soft words, and new beginnings. The wind howled louder than usual that night. The trees outside bent and creaked, long branches tapping against the side of the cabin. Ryan stood at the window, staring into the dark woods. Something didn't feel right. Telly was asleep on the couch, her blanket tucked under her chin. She had fallen asleep after reading 2 picture books and eating a sweet fruit pie. She looked peaceful, too peaceful for what Ryan was starting to feel in his bones. He turned off the lights one by one, leaving only the fire to burn low. Then, he sat by the door, holding the small tracking scanner in his lap. It blinked red, 1 life form approaching. Then 2, then 3. Ryan's jaw clenched. He reached for his stun pistol and turned off the main power. Everything went dark except for the soft red glow of the fire. A soft knock came on the door. Not loud, not rushed, polite. Almost Ryan didn't move. Then came a voice, peaceful. "Greetings, citizen. We are from the Galactic Orphan Reclamation Group. We received a report about a runaway alien child. We believe she is inside your cabin." Ryan stood and walked toward the door slowly. He didn't open it. "She's not a runaway," he said firmly. "She's safe, and she's staying." Here, there was a pause. "We only wish to help, sir. Please allow us inside to examine the child. She's sleeping." Ryan said, "Come back with proper orders." Another pause, longer this time. Then the polite voice grew colder. "We will return, and when we do, it will not be as friends." Ryan stepped back as he heard boots crunching in the snow outside. The scanner showed all 3 signals retreating slowly. But not far. They were camping nearby, waiting the next morning. Telly woke up to find Ryan building wooden locks on the back windows. She rubbed her eyes and walked up to him slowly. "Why are you doing that?" He glanced at her and smiled. "Gently, just making sure we're safe." She watched him hammer nails with quick, strong hands. Her fingers held the blanket tighter. "Did someone come last night?" Ryan didn't answer right away. He set the hammer down and knelt beside her. "Some people came, yes. Did they want to take me away?" He nodded. "But they didn't get in." Telly's lip trembled. "They'll come again, I know," he said. "But I'll be ready later that day." Ryan showed Telly how to use the emergency ladder under the floor. He opened the trapdoor in the kitchen and pointed at the tunnel beneath. "This goes to the old root cellar," he explained. "If anything happens, and I'm not here, you go through here and stay quiet." Telly looked into the dark space. It smelled like dirt and cold metal. She nodded slowly. "Only if you're not here." Ryan put a hand on her shoulder. Only then, at dusk, Telly helped cook stew again. She hummed softly while stirring the pot, trying to act like everything was normal. But her hands shook when she picked up the spoon. Ryan sat at the table. Cleaning his old rifle, he watched her carefully but didn't speak of the danger. Not tonight, when they sat to eat. Telly barely touched her food. Her eyes stayed on the door. "Will you send me back if they come again?" she asked quietly. Ryan looked at her, his eyes steady. "No," he said. "I'll never send you back." She sniffled, wiped her nose with her sleeve. "I can work," she said quickly. "I'll be quiet. I'll clean everything. I'll stay small. You don't have to earn your place here," Ryan replied. "You're already part of this home." Telly looked away, tears filling her glowing eyes. "No one's ever said that to me." That night, Ryan didn't sleep. He sat near the door. Weapon ready, eyes sharp. The scanner blinked again. 2 signals now closer than before. Outside, snow began to fall again, soft at first, then heavier, covering the trees and ground in white silence. Inside, Telly slept curled into a tight ball by the fire. Her necklace sat on the shelf. broken, but safe. Ryan watched her chest rise and fall. He remembered the way she had whispered, "You smell like safe." He made a silent promise. No matter what happened next, he would protect her. He would fight if he had to. Because this girl was no longer a stranger. She was his responsibility now. And maybe, just maybe, us. She was the family he never knew he needed. Snow covered the land like a quiet blanket. The trees wore white coats, and the cabin looked like it belonged to a painting. Inside, warmth still glowed from the fire, but something else was changing too. Telly was different. She still spoke softly and held her mother's necklace close. But now, she started asking questions, not out of fear, but curiosity. "Can I learn to cook better?" She asked one morning. Ryan looked at her with a small smile. "You already make the best stew I've ever had," he said. She smiled shyly and shook her head. "Not stew. I want to learn everything." Ryan stood up and handed her a cooking tool. "Then let's start with breakfast." That day, Ryan showed her how to crack eggs, cut vegetables, and mix dough. Telly laughed when flour dusted her nose. She danced in the kitchen, light on her feet. The cabin, once silent and still, now rang with her small joy. Later, she asked, "Can I help with the scanner too?" Ryan paused, surprised. "You want to learn that?" She nodded seriously. "If I can learn it, I won't be useless when danger comes." Those words hurt him more than she knew. He knelt beside her. "You are not useless, Telly. You are just small, not weak." Her eyes shimmered. "But small things break." Ryan placed the scanner in her hand. "Then we'll make you stronger for the next few days." He trained her in small things. How to check the scanner, how to spot tracks in the snow, how to close the trapdoor quickly and quietly. She listened carefully, repeating his words back. At night, she practiced hiding and moving without sound. Ryan pretended not to notice. A bee watched from the shadows. Proud, she built traps from sticks and wire, set alarms on the windows. She made maps of the cabin and its surroundings, and one day, she whispered, "Now, if they come, I'll be ready too." But peace didn't last. A rock shattered the front window one evening. Ryan rushed outside, weapon drawn, but saw no one. Only a note tied to the rock: return the asset or burn with it. He folded the paper, burning it in the fire without a word. Telly didn't ask what it said. She just picked up a broom and began to sweep the broken glass. "I won't run this time," she said calmly. "I want to stay." Ryan sat down beside her. "I won't let them take you." "You don't have to fight alone," she whispered. "I want to protect you too." The next day, Ryan took her out into the forest. They walked through thick snow, their boots crunching with every step. He showed her how to hide behind trees, how to move with the wind, how to spot heat signatures through the scope. Telly learned fast. She was small, but clever, quick with her hands, quiet with her feet. He tossed her a small training beacon. She caught it in one try, smiling. With pride, "You were right," she said. "I'm not weak." "No," Ryan said. "You are strong, stronger than most adults I know." That night, Telly pulled something from her pocket. A small piece of string tied around a carved button. "I made this for you," she said, handing it to him. Ryan looked at it, confused. "It's your necklace now," she said. "You keep me safe, so this will keep you safe too." Ryan tied it around his wrist. "Then I'll wear it always," he said softly. Days passed, and winter thickened. The threat outside remained, but inside, the cabin grew stronger. Not just with locks and traps, but with something deeper: trust. Telly now helped with everything. She even answered the communicator once when the supply post called. "Ryan's." "Not here," she said proudly, "but I'll take a message." The man on the other side laughed. "Who's the new boss of the cabin?" Telly grinned. "Me, of course." One evening, after a long day of training and snow clearing, Telly sat near the fire and asked, "Do you think Mama would be proud of me?" Ryan looked at her gently. "I think she'd be proud every single day." She looked at the stars through the window, then whispered, "I hope she sees me." "She does," Ryan said. "I believe that." She leaned against him without a word, and in that moment, two lonely souls became something unbreakable. Not just protector and child, but something closer, something like family. The snow had stopped falling, but the cold stayed, sharp like knives in the air. The trees stood frozen and silent, hiding secrets between their trunks. Ryan stood in the forest, looking at the ground. It found fresh tracks, not animal. Not his. Heavy boots, too deep, too many. They were circling his land again. Waiting, watching, he returned to the cabin with snow on his shoulders. Telly looked up from her notebook. She had been drawing traps and escape paths again. He didn't speak, but she knew. "They're back, aren't they?" Ryan nodded. "It's time," he said. "For what?" "For a trap of our own." That night, Ryan worked in the shed. He gathered old parts, wires, sensors, and netting. Telly helped, holding the lights, sorting the tools, asking quiet questions. He showed her how to make a trip sensor from a broken drone, how to tie wire across a trail where no one would see it, how to rig a flash stunner to blind someone long enough to run. Telly watched everything carefully. She didn't laugh or smile now. Her face was calm and focused, like someone older than her years. "We'll place the trap by the southern ridge." Ryan said, "That's where they'll come from." Telly pointed to the map they made. "And we escape through here. If it fails, only if it fails." He repeated. The next morning, they left early, before sunrise. The sky was pale blue, the trees covered in silver frost. Telly wore a thick coat and gloves, her eyes sharp. They moved through the forest in silence. Ryan checked the wind, the shadows, the animal trails. They found the perfect place, a narrow path between two ridges. He crouched low, setting the tripwire under a fallen branch. Telly placed the flash stunner behind a rock. Then they covered everything with snow and leaves. When it was done, they stood together, looking at their work. Telly whispered, "Do you think it'll work?" "It will," Ryan said, "but we still need a backup plan, later." Back at the cabin, Ryan packed a small emergency bag, food, medicine, heat sticks, a short-range communicator. He gave it to Telly. "If anything happens to me, you take this. And go to the southern cave." Telly looked at him with wide eyes. "You're not coming with me?" "I will if I can," he said. "But if I can't, you must survive." She shook her head quickly. "I don't want to go alone. I don't want you to," Ryan said softly. "But I need to know you can." Telly hugged the bag too. Her chest. "I'll wait for you," she whispered, "and I'll come," he promised. That night, they didn't sleep. They sat near the fire, eating quietly. Telly drew stars on the floor with chalk. Ryan cleaned his rifle one last time. When the scanner blinked red, they both stood at once. 3 life forms, moving fast toward the cabin. "It's time," Ryan said. Telly nodded. Her face pale but steady. "Hide in the tunnel," he told her. "But if the trap goes off, and I call your name, come out, okay?" she said. "And if you don't call, then you stay hidden." She hesitated, then hugged him tightly. "You smell like safe." She whispered again, "And you smell like home," he whispered back. As she climbed into the tunnel and closed the trapdoor, Ryan took his place outside. The forest was dark, the stars above cold and still. Then movement. 3 shadows came into view. Walking low and quiet, but not quiet enough. One of them stepped on the wire. Snap! The flash stunner went off. Blinding white light filled the trees. The men screamed and stumbled back. Ryan stepped forward, weapon raised. "Leave the girl alone," he shouted. "This is your only warning." One of the men fired. Ryan dove to the side, rolled behind a tree, returned fire, a stunner bolt hit. One man in the chest, he fell, twitching, the other to split up. Moving through the trees, Ryan breathed fast, sweat on his face despite the cold. He circled around, quiet as a ghost. Then a branch snapped behind him. He turned, just in time, but too late. The second man tackled him from behind. They wrestled in the snow, fists and elbows flying. Ryan was stronger, but the man was younger, faster. Finally, Ryan smashed the man's head into a rock. Once, twice, he fell silent. The third man came running, yelling into a communicator. Ryan raised his rifle and fired. The shot hit the man's leg. He screamed and dropped. Crawling, "I told you to leave her." Ryan growled, standing over him. "We were paid to bring her back," the man spat. "She's just an asset to them, not a person." "She's family to me," Ryan said, and knocked him out cold. 10 minutes later, Telly heard his voice. From the tunnel above Telly, "It's over. You can come out." She climbed up, her eyes wide. The snow around the cabin was trampled, the trees quiet. She saw 2 unconscious men tied to a tree and one lying still on the ground. Ryan knelt in the snow, breathing hard. She ran to him and hugged him tightly. "You came back," she whispered. "I told you I would," he replied, and for the first time since the day she lost everything, Telly felt truly safe again. Sunlight broke through the trees, soft and golden. Snow melted slowly from the rooftops and branches. Winter was ending, and with it, the fear that had once filled the cabin. Telly stood at the window, watching the world turn warm again. Her small hand held the necklace Ryan had repaired. The cracked stone was still there, but now wrapped in silver wire, made strong again, just like her. Ryan came in from outside, boots muddy, jacket open. He smiled when he saw her. "You're up early." "I wanted to see the sun," she said. "It feels different now." Ryan nodded. "It does," he replied. "Different is good." She said with a soft smile. A week had passed since the attack. The local council had sent peacekeepers to collect the unconscious men. Ryan filed a report, but kept it simple. He said they were trespassers, no more. He didn't want to risk anyone coming to question Telly. She had been through enough, but something changed after that night. Telly walked taller now. She spoke more, asked bigger questions. "Do you think I can go to school one day?" "Yes," Ryan said, "if you want to, and make friends." "Good ones," he promised. She looked down shyly. "I've never had a friend before." "You have one now," he said. "Me." Ryan built her a small bed in the extra room. Telly helped paint the walls light blue. She drew stars on the ceiling with glowing markers. Each night, she stared up at them and whispered, "Mama, look where I sleep now." She added drawings to the walls, birds, ships, trees, and one of a human and a small alien girl standing side by side. Ryan saw it and felt something tighten in his chest. Family, the supply post called a week later. Ryan spoke with the officer briefly, then passed the communicator to Telly. She blinked, surprised. "Me?" "You're ready," Ryan said. Telly held the communicator and greeted the woman on the other side. Her voice shook at first, but she steadied it. She gave her name, her location, and asked if they had any books about star maps. Ryan watched, proud. When she handed it back, she looked up with wide eyes. She said she'll send some tomorrow. "Looks like someone's becoming a star expert." He said, "I want to know where Mama came from." She whispered, "And maybe where I'll go someday." That night, after dinner, Telly sat by the fire and opened a small box. Inside was something she had been hiding for weeks, a drawing she made the first night she came. It was just lines and shapes, messy and crooked, but full of meaning. It showed the cabin, a human figure, and a tiny figure with large eyes holding his hand. She handed it to Ryan. "This is us," she said. "It always was." Even before I believed it, Ryan held the drawing carefully. "Thank you," he whispered. "It's yours now." she said, "just like I am." Spring arrived. And with it came green leaves, blooming flowers, and birds returning to the trees. Telly ran outside barefoot, chasing flutterbugs. Laughing, Ryan leaned against the porch rail, arms crossed, smiling. He had been alone for so long, alone by choice, alone by habit. But now the cabin wasn't just a shelter, it was a home. Telly picked a bright yellow flower and ran up to him. "For your jacket," she said, tucking it into his front pocket. He nodded. "I think it makes me look important." "You are important," she said, without thinking. Then she looked down. Blushing, Ryan didn't answer. But he reached out and gently ruffled her hair. "You too, little star," he said. "You're the most important thing I've got." One day, a council officer came to visit. She wore a kind face and brought legal papers. Ryan opened the door cautiously, but the woman smiled and handed him a data pad. "Telly has been marked as unclaimed," she said, "but we can change that if you want." Ryan looked at Telly, who stood behind him. Silent, her fingers clutched the necklace again. She didn't speak, but her eyes said everything. Ryan nodded slowly. "I want," the officer smiled, "then sign here." He pressed his thumb to the pad. Telly stepped forward, hands trembling, and did the same. Just like that, it was real. That night, they sat on the porch under the stars. Telly leaned against him, her head on his arm. She looked up and whispered, "Do you think Mama knows I'm okay now?" Ryan stared at the stars. "I think she does," he said, "and I think she's proud." Telly nodded. "I still miss her. It's okay to miss her," he said, "but I'm here now. For as long as you want me." She looked up at him. "I want you forever." He smiled, heart full. "Then forever it is, in the quiet forest." Under the shining stars, a girl who had lost everything found something more. Not just safety, not just food, but a place to belong, a home, a family, and a forever kind of love.